Oh, you are recording.
I am recording.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, you know how, do you have the hidden bar at the bottom? Mine hides. So unless when you scroll down, it pops up and covers everything on the bottom.
Are you talking about on the computer or on the TV?
Computer.
Oh, yes. I have. I always hide my
yeah.
bar.
And sometimes it covers it. So you're recording. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you can cut all that out. I know you won't.
Of course I won't. Why would I do that?
If there's a chance it makes me sound stupid, I know you're going to leave it in.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's something that I think sounds stupid is we planned on doing a happy hour. Usually I'm the one that backs out a happy hour.
I know you do.
Now I got a drink. You're doing
Well, we're going out to dinner later. Well, not much later. And I'm driving. So it's probably not a good idea to hammer a bunch of cocktails and then, hey, let's get behind the wheel.
So what that made it sounds like Lisa is drinking, and she would probably be a better host to have on PoddiMouths right now because she's partaking in happy hour. That's what I'm hearing.
She would be a hostess, and
I am not going to go with the gender identity. You know what I did this week with the what is it? I can't even remember the name of it.
What?
We had the diversity. That's what I'm looking for. The diversity training.
Yeah.
So I don't want to identify gender in that way.
Okay.
It's just like the actor versus actress. Most actresses consider themselves actors, which I fully support and agree with.
How about waiter and waitress?
They're all waiters.
And how about
stewards and stewardesses?
Oh gosh, I'm not doing that. I hope you have a terrible flight the next time you fly because
crash.
This is why I want PoddiMouths to be really successful, because I want you to get on a plane and people start to recognize you. This is the prick that called us stewardesses. And they will, hey, would you like a drink, sir?
Hey, quite honestly, if we were that popular, I don't think I'd have a problem with it. But if we got to be that popular, we're going to be flying our private jets everywhere anyway, so it won't really matter.
Yeah, well, we certainly won't be able to hire any flight attendants, I'll tell you that much.
Not female ones anyway.
No, we won't.
But what I really want is for this podcast to be 100% politically correct.
Yeah, well,
that's season 3.
That is not season 3. That's season 50, maybe.
Oh,
by maybe. Then, assuming I'm still around, because I'm sure I will be at 110 almost. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be let's be really careful about what we say.
We should be really careful about what we say.
No, we should not. And how are we going to do that with you drinking while we're on our podcast?
Well, you told me to. You are always after me to do a happy hour episode.
I am, but that's only for the 6 a.m. ones when we record really early in the morning.
Wow. That's when you do your happy hour. I don't, yeah.
No, but that's why I'm trying to encourage you.
I see.
It pretty much wrecked my day. I'd probably
be a much better person if I were drunk during the day.
It wrecked my day because I recorded PoddiMouths at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, we should really do that.
It was downhill. What, drink at 6?
No, record at 6 instead of waiting until the end of the day.
Do you know how well
the weekend?
We'd probably go a lot worse. We'd go a lot faster because we'd be on coffee.
Yeah, true.
I did a pour over this morning.
Did you? And how was it? You know, it's funny. You did a pour over this morning, and so did Mr. Smolik. I actually, because I don't remember if I told you this. I was probably high on the medications, but when I had my surgery, Matt stepped up and really helped me out because he did the same job as I did.
Yes.
And so he just kind of reached into my area and helped dealers and nice. Really helped me while I was on bed rest. So as a thank you, because we always talk about coffee, I got him a small pour over.
Carafe.
Yes. Yeah. So, and today was the first day he used it this morning.
Wow. Yeah. And that's a very nice gesture on your part. Obviously a nice gesture on his part. And I'm giving you a not so nice gesture right now. I'm sorry. I just wanted to differentiate.
Yeah, I understand.
But that's cool. But how did you just get it for him recently, or he just finally had a chance to try it?
I didn't, but I hadn't been able to get it to him for various reasons. One, because I'm a cheap ass and didn't want to ship it, or I was too lazy to. That's probably more accurate. I was too lazy. But then COVID happened and we weren't traveling to see each other. And this time we were actually, with his new position, I actually get to see him more often.
That's
so
awesome.
I was able to give it to him.
Well, yeah, when you had the same position, you were covering territories
Yes.
that pretty much butted up against each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's understandable.
We got to see each other once in a while, but very rarely.
That's awesome.
But now we see each other a lot more often because his new job incorporates my area.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that because that is a good fit for both of you.
I think so.
Yeah. So the whole, it was a very nice gesture. However, he just flipped me off. The whole a pour over thing was kind of interesting because it probably happens once a week and sometimes, a day or two in a row. Lisa and I, there are only two of us and we have a dishwasher and
what's the dishwasher's name?
It is a Bosch.
Oh, I thought it was a person.
No. That was me growing up. Yeah, I was the dishwasher, and my mother did not get an automatic dishwasher until almost all the kids were out of the house. So, because it's only two of us, it takes a while for the dishwasher to fill up. So, we'll hand wash dishes or something like that. You have only three in the house, so you kind of get the idea. It's not.
And we have two dishwashers.
Full of do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, both of you.
No. We have one of the stackable. So we literally have two, and they're smaller. So I get what you're saying, but it doesn't take us as long to fill it up.
No, I guess not. Well, us either, because we put everything in there. I was cleaning my gun and I put my Glock in there. And
nice.
No, I didn't. But
I've heard the only thing that could stand.
I've heard of people doing that, by the way.
I have too,
with Glocks. And I'm just like, what? You did what?
It's not one of those nickel-plated sissy pistols.
Oh no, it is a polymer that can actually withstand that. But
yes,
that's not how I clean my Glock.
Can anyone name what movie that came from and the actor who said it, or the actor who said it?
I cannot. I'm sure someone can.
Get rid of that nickel-plated sissy pistol.
It's a great line. There's no question. It's probably second only to Skin That Smoke Wagon.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, Tombstone.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong with you?
You're right. I remember that now. Yep. Clear as day. About the movie came out about the same time. So it was Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay.
In what was the second after The Fugitive?
Oh gosh, yeah.
It was the second one with
the guy's name, wasn't it? Wasn't it like FBI, like an FBI?
U.S. Marshals.
U.S. Marshals. That's what it was. Yep.
Yeah. So it was Tommy Lee Jones who said that to Robert Downey Jr.
Cool.
Because he pulled out the silver and he's like, because Tommy Lee Jones in the first one was a big fan of Glock.
Okay.
So anyway, that's
my
nerding out on movies. Go ahead.
My favorite role for Tommy Lee Jones, as we're veering off a little bit, is in the Steven Seagal movie.
Oh yeah, the one where he's a cook on the boat or on the ship.
Seagal is, yeah. So what was the? God, I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, me too. Under Siege.
Very good, nicely done. And Tommy Lee Jones was
the best part of the movie.
He really was good, and so his movies, if you've seen Seagal's movies, they're alternately okay and terrible.
They're entertaining. It doesn't matter how bad they are.
Almost always entertaining. Yes, exactly. And the one you and I know we've talked about, the guy getting his nose broken 3 times with that fire down below or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was one. Anyway, but I love Seagal because he never gets hurt.
Right.
Never. If you watch any of these other movies, Jean-Claude Van Damme and some of these, they always get their butts handed to them at some point in the movie. Never Seagal. He has a little scratch and he's got a guy, he's dissected him and his body parts are lying all over the floor and he's got a scratch on his face. I did that shaving.
Well, it's the same when he's because he was a cop for a while. He never got hurt in the line of duty.
No, I can't.
Just trying to portray the real Steven Seagal.
Yes, well, he is, and while he looks more like I do these days, size wise. He is still, I'm sure, I would not want to get on his bad
No,
side.
not one bit.
Truly is a highly accomplished martial artist.
Yes, he
And
is.
so even though we all get older, as is our friend Matt, who we're going to get back on in one of our next episodes coming up.
Yeah.
My
Which
buddy
Matt?
Matt.
Oh, our buddy Matt, the other Matt, the one we were just talking about, is also a martial artist.
He is a martial artist. He and we've talked. Mr. Smolik and I have talked several times about that, and but Matt was actually a sensei, and he was an MMA fighter, and he traveled all over the U.S. and outside of the country too. He's quite accomplished. Another guy I'd like to have on my side in a bar fight.
Right.
So, but I don't get into bar fights often because
you notice I wasn't going there.
No,
Speaking of someone who would be on my side, so we've talked about. Have we talked about my dad and his? He's actually in the martial arts or in a Kung Fu Hall of Fame.
Really, I did not know that.
Let me see if I can find it.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, you talk while I look it up.
See, this is what I do. I burn time. Nick would do a podcast all by himself if he didn't need me to burn time for him while he's searching things or changing clothes or throwing more bourbon into his glass.
Pretty much it.
He just needs someone to burn time. And
fortunately,
I'm a highly accomplished time burner.
So it's United States Chan Fa, CHUANFA, and that is USCHUANFA.org. And I've got to go down to him because there's a bunch of them. Uh-oh, where'd it go?
Oh, no.
Oh, there he is. Steve Kubik has been a USCF member for 25 years and teaches a class in Southwest North Dakota. After a career in firefighting, Steve moved to Southwest. All of that stuff about him. Steve is a third-level black sash in Zhu Wei Shu Warrior program.
Wow.
And instructor level in the teacher and healer programs. He's a certified at Three Rivers Kwai Gong and is presently pursuing an energy healing methods. He is recognized by the USCF Association as a fifth-level black sash.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he teaches to this day? Is that
no,
accurate?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they haven't updated that website in a while. Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think he might take individual students and do private classes or private lessons, but yeah, he hasn't done that in a while.
Yeah, you know what? It's a tough gig, and Matt Pitzner and I have had this conversation. He was terrific, and he worked with everybody from young kids, 4 years old and up, to adults, and many classes, and it's just tough. It's tough to make a good living when you're doing that, despite the fact that he had over 100 students in a small town. And so anyway, but just a really good teacher demeanor, and anyway, but he is highly accomplished. It would be fun to have him talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. We need to have more guests. I mean, we're getting boring.
You've been for a long time. I'm just finally starting to get dragged down your hole of boredom.
Right. And we've gotten so bored that on the last episode, you and I both forgot to mention that it was our 100th episode.
And so the one to thank is not just you for being such a wonderful person, but
a wonderful what's that word?
Why did that go here?
Person.
But it's to our listeners too, because many of them truly have been around since almost day one. So yeah, 100 episodes.
At least that one.
It's certainly a testament to our listeners, and
especially the one that I'm wearing merch from. It actually came.
You did buy some merch, didn't you? And not from us.
Not from us. No, I think it defeats the purpose when I buy merch from us, because
no, I think it's brilliant. I think you should sign over your paycheck to our merch store.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah,
Well,
because
wouldn't
then
hurt.
that
Not
pays. We
me.
only get like a quarter of that back, but
Well, that means I get some that I haven't had before. So that'd be
you
like
get a quarter of a quarter.
I'll get like 12% the way it sounds to me.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
You get crap and lose your butt, but I think that's the least you could do.
Anyway, I'm wearing merch from the Vehicle Nanny.
From the
I got
Vehicle
my
Nanny.
sweatshirt, and it's a very and Bill, you're absolutely right. It is a very comfortable, it's thin, but it's very soft. And my wife and daughter have already threatened to take it from me, so I made sure I wore it today.
You're thin and soft too.
I am thin and soft.
That's why the sweatshirt fits so nicely.
Exactly. Actually, it's a little big. You notice I got an extra. I usually get extra larges when it comes to hoodies.
Okay.
Because
That's nice.
I like the bigger ones.
It's very nice. It looks very high quality.
It is high quality. It's cozy.
And our listeners out there who would go to vehiclenanny.com and buy some merch from them, I think it'd be cool if they'd stop by PoddiMouths.com, grab some merch there, grab some merch from over at Vehicle Nanny, and then on alternating days, just wear them everywhere you go.
I like that idea. And how could they do both in one stop?
Oh, that would be spectacular.
Well, no, it's really easy. They go to PoddiMouths.com.
You can link there.
There's a link to his merch store.
It's almost like
our merch store from PoddiMouths.com.
We planned that. It feels like
almost like we know what we're doing. Almost.
Let's not stretch it.
Yeah, that's a pretty big stretch.
Okay, so we started talking about the pour-overs today, and it came down to the dishwasher because, as I mentioned earlier, the coffee maker, the coffee pot, and the filter basket have been in the dishwasher for 2 days.
Nice.
So yesterday we had Virtuo pods, the espresso.
Yeah.
And today I decided to do a pour over because I was first one up, and it was delicious and just a nice change of pace.
Very good. I'm glad you could enjoy that. And speaking of Nespresso,
yes,
I got to stay in a really nice hotel this past week.
You mentioned that. Yeah.
And I sent John some pictures. Actually, on the day that we were celebrating our 100th episode.
Yes.
I had a bacon infused. Not Manhattan. Old fashioned.
Yeah.
And it was incredible.
It was. And I'll see if I can describe it, because looking at the glass, I mean, it was a beautifully
presented
old fashioned.
Yes.
It was very nice, but it had a piece of bacon in it. And
massive
it was thick.
piece of
oh
bacon.
my gosh, thick piece of bacon. It was like
it was quite honestly probably the best piece of bacon I've ever had.
Yeah, it was more like what do they call it? It's I can't think of it. Pork belly. Pork belly. It was, and bacon is, similar to that and usually in the same spot, but pork belly is just, it's like a delicacy and thick, and it looked like it was done perfectly too.
Yeah. Oh, it was phenomenal. And normally when I'm on the road or when I'm working during the week, I don't usually drink. Very rarely do I drink.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there's something really cool like that.
Mm-hmm.
What I do even more rarely than that, or less often than that, is have two. And I had to have a second. It was so good.
So
good.
That reminds me of a bar we used to frequent in Dearborn, Michigan, and it was called the Double Olive. On their menu, and it was a martini bar, and this was 20 years ago, probably. Wow. 18 to 20 years ago that we used to go there quite often. And the Double Olive had a menu, and on the front of it said, martinis are like breasts. 1 is not enough and 3 are too many.
I really like that.
And it's kind of similar, it sounds like, to the old fashioned you had.
Well, okay, so let's break that down. Let's call that our potty corner, because I didn't prepare one unless you prepared one.
I've had just all sorts of things. No, I haven't.
Okay. So let's talk about the number of drinks. So and this is something that Mr. Smolik and I we've spent a lot of time together in the last few weeks. So we've had a lot of time to talk since COVID and,
No.
Talking to people is very difficult to do in person. So we were talking, and going back to when we were young, and we were talking about going to a bar and how, there's one night came that I was thinking about when we were talking about it, and one that came to mind was I was at what's the name of the bar? What is Chuck Berry's famous song?
It's
got a lot of them, but the main
Johnny
one.
Be Good.
No.
Yeah, it is. Stop.
Well, I know that's one of his famous songs, but I'm trying to think of the name. There's a bar in St. Louis named after one of his songs.
Not Maybelline.
No.
Okay.
Anyway, so we didn't frequent this bar necessarily, but we lived down the street from it, and there were several bars in this general area. And we were at this bar one night, and we had probably throughout the night, so it was a good 4 or 5 hour period, probably had 4, maybe 5 glasses of scotch, my roommate, myself, and a few other friends. And I remember distinctly getting really upset with my roommate because it was his turn to get the next round, and it was the last round we were going to do. It was last call. And he came back, and it was another glass, like a scotch. And I took a sip, and I'm like, this isn't scotch. He's like, no, I know. It's my favorite. It's Crown Royal. And I
went from scotch to Crown.
Scotch to whiskey, which normally it's not a big deal, right? But I remember distinctly looking at him and going, you asshole. We were drinking scotch. Now tomorrow I'm going to have a hangover. And this was like my 6th glass of booze, right? And it was a minor hangover, but back then we were young, and that stuff didn't really affect us.
Yes.
Now I can have one drink, depending on what it is, one drink, and be hungover tomorrow.
Well, you have to stop drinking white Zinfandel then.
Well, it's not white Zinfandel.
Yes, actually it is. Also known as a headache in a bottle.
Yeah, a headache, exactly. But that's the same thing. It depends on what you're drinking too, because,
yes.
I can maybe handle 3 glasses of wine without really feeling anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have one martini, I'm done.
Really?
I am absolutely done. Yeah. But old fashioned.
Didn't you and I have 2?
Yeah, I was done.
Wow.
But one is
the loneliest number.
Exactly. But no, I mean the old fashioned, that 2 was about, I wouldn't have been able to do more than 2. Okay. If I would have done more than 2, I would have been hungover. I would have been badly hungover, and luckily I wasn't. So
badly hungover as opposed to just a little.
It's just a little. I can handle this a little. Yeah.
The name of the bar is Blueberry Hill in St. Louis, by the way.
It was Blueberry Hill. Thank you.
Welcome. I just came up with it. And when I think of Blueberry Hill, though, I think of Chubby Checker, who probably made it more famous. But Chuck Berry, as I read it, actually performed.
Did he sing?
Chuck Berry performed there the
Chuck
third
Berry?
Wednesday of each month. Sorry, Chuck Berry, in the Duck Room.
Yes, and I've been in the Duck Room many times.
Huh.
It's a neat little venue, and that's in University City, which, for those of you who are rap fans, is where Nelly comes from. So excellent. University City is also where Washington University, WashU, is located.
So a friend of mine,
really good part of town. Yeah.
A friend of mine's from St. Louis took me to the Hill.
Yeah.
It's a part of town, right?
Yep, it is.
And is it short for something, or is that what it's called?
No, it's the Hill. It's the Hill. It's the Italian part of town. So
oh my goodness. We went to a little ma and pa Italian restaurant there. It was delightful.
Oh yeah. And the Hill is where fried ravioli was invented.
Oh, really? Yeah. And I know it's a St. Louis thing. That's very cool.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's delicious. The Renaissance Hotel by the airport. I actually had that as an appetizer, and I got it every time I was there because it's so good.
Yeah. But you have to try it on the Hill. And, another good, they have a hot pastrami sandwich. There's a place, they have several of them that have that.
Wasn't that a gentleman's club?
No.
Okay.
But it's right across the street from, I guess, a baseball field where some famous baseball player used to play when he was a kid, and they have a statue of him actually standing out there. I don't remember the baseball player though. He never
St.
played for
Louis.
St. Louis. He never played
Oh,
for
he
St.
didn't.
Louis.
Oh, I
I
see.
think he
Okay.
played for one of the New York teams, but he was.
They made a statue for him
He's from
in
St.
St.
Louis.
Louis.
He's from
Oh,
St.
he's
Louis.
from there. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm clear.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
And
That's
so,
cool.
did you ever see the movie? I'm sure you did because it was probably something that was, I guess, when you probably watched a lot of movies when you were younger.
Okay.
Escape from New York.
I have not seen it, but I
You have
am
not seen with
aware.
Kurt Russell?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
The vast majority of that film was shot in St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is because St. Louis was on the decline, but a lot of the architecture, a lot of the streets were very similar, or actually are very similar to streets in New York.
Interesting.
So it looked very post-apocalyptic.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Escape
I
from
spent
New
8
York.
years in St. Louis, so I know a bit of the history, and I'm kind of a history nerd.
You are that, and just a general run-of-the-mill nerd too. Actually,
A huge nerd. Actually, I think something that has gone almost, I don't want to say 100% national, but it probably has gone quite a bit because I started seeing it in places that I wouldn't expect it. If you ever see Schlafly beer at the liquor store,
Schlafle.
something like that, yeah. Schlafly, it's like Schlafly. Schlafly is in the building. The brewery, the main brewery, is in the building that was used for Escape from New York.
I see.
It's part of the tour. They'll talk about the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a very good beer if anyone gets the opportunity to try it sometime.
Schlafly.
Schlafly.
I bet you can't say it after you've had a six-pack.
That's probably where the name came from.
It probably is. It's probably pronounced or spelled Slafley. Schlafly.
Exactly. Yep. How did you know?
It's Schlafly.
Schlafly.
And in Milwaukee, we used to have Schlitz.
Schlitz.
Schlitz. Yeah, Schlitz malt
Yeah.
liquor.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't just malt liquor. They also had just it's a standard ale, I guess is what it was. But they're a lager, might have been a lager. Now it's an ale. Anyway, it was not a good beer necessarily, like Old Milwaukee circa. But different people have
Milwaukee.
Different people have different tastes.
Yeah, and that's so. There's a
gosh.
beer that went out for a while. It went out of business for a while, but now is back. But it was a big beer. It was like Budweiser. It was like Busch. It was big, but then again went out of business. Now it's just kind of a Minnesota thing or a Minnesota, Wisconsin thing. And I keep trying to get our good friend Eric Forstner to bring some with him when he comes to one of our meetings, because he's premium grain belt.
Oh gosh, I've seen that. Yeah, that is a Minnesota thing.
That's a Minnesota thing.
Yeah.
I love that beer, but it's an old Milwaukee-esque Schlitz thing. Yeah, it's phenomenal. I love that beer.
Oh boy. Well, for most beers like that, especially the older ones that have been around for a while, it's more of a memory thing than it is, that they're really quality beer, because most of them are not.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Like Hams and like, but I remember the days too, though, when Coors was a big thing, especially in the Midwest, because you couldn't get in the Midwest.
Right.
People would it was pretty much, I want to say west of the Rockies, wasn't it?
Now isn't it? I don't know about that. I'm too young for that. I'm sorry, but no, isn't it made in Milwaukee now? Because it was made in Boulder, Colorado.
Golden.
Sorry, it was made in Golden, Colorado. It was actually my very first brewery tour. Was
it really?
Coors, yeah. But I think they moved it now to Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. You should
entirely possible. Well, they're combined with somebody else now, aren't they?
Yeah. Most of the big ones are combined. I mean, even Anheuser-Busch now is InBev.
Oh yeah, right. And that's a foreign corporation, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That was a big scandal for a minute there.
I think I remember when that kind of all came about.
Yeah, there are a lot of that's happening because of all the microbreweries. And
that's exactly right. There are so many. I was just about to say so many microbreweries now, and there's one, and it's not. I don't know if I would call it a microbrewery, but one is it? I want to say it's Wisconsin Brewing Company.
Yeah.
They do and I have a friend who's an investor. They do it's called Oktoberfest. It's a fall and autumn ale, and it's delicious. It's such a good. I think it's Oktoberfest. I could be mistaken, but it comes out anyway in the fall. I know that. And when we lived in the Detroit area, we came and visited my brother, and he brought a couple of cases for me of this stuff because he came from Wisconsin and picked it up. So it was great. I was so excited because it really is a delicious beer. And Lisa, we put it in our van, and we were, I was going to take it at home, and for some reason that's where the exchange was, and got home, and I neglected to take it out. Well, Lisa had to go teach a fitness class, a jazzercise. She was a jazzercise instructor for many years, and she took the van and got there and opened up the gate, and a case of the beer fell on the ground.
No.
So she goes in to teach her class smelling like beer. And I don't think
I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, well, she didn't. Yeah, it seems fine. It smelled lovely.
Yeah.
But
it makes me want to work out more.
Finishing the class, and she's like doing a bend sort of a thing from the floor, and she goes, "I smell like a brewery." And so, of course, my response was, "Did they all break? Come on!" And so, I was sad about that. But
I one thing that is a little bit weird, and this is breaking news for everyone that's on this podcast, because I don't think anyone is really talking about this at all. My favorite microbrew is Fat Tire. But can you really call New Belgium Brewery a microbrew anymore?
Yeah, see, that's the question. For some of these, you can't.
Right.
I mean, I guess it depends on your definition, but it's and maybe there are legal definitions too. Do you know about that?
I don't know. I don't know about the legal definitions, but I don't even think New Belgium Brewing ding. I'm waiting for the.
We only do it once.
Okay, fine, whatever. I didn't say New Belgium anyway.
Parent company.
I don't think New Belgium.
Hey, let's talk about. They're not as good as Anheuser-Busch. Oh, and then we'll cut it out. People are going to get.
Everyone loves the ding.
No, they don't.
They love the ding. It's all half of our listeners.
T-shirts that say that.
Yeah, they love. Oh, okay.
I love the ding.
I'm getting on that one. I love the ding.
And we will do the bell that looks like
I love the ding, because I'll forget that. I love the ding.
You'll forget everything because you're
designing it. I haven't had a drink since we started.
And it has to have that.
I have to have the smiley face. Okay.
The smiley face, yellow bell.
All right, I'll get that. Anyway,
what do you mean I haven't had a drink since we started? You are sipping like a little schoolgirl. Sorry, schoolgirls. But I know it's gone. There was maybe gone a quarter of an inch in there when we started, and you're just. I create more saliva than that.
So the only reason is no, there's no reason. Anyway. Where was I going with? Oh, so microbrews. I don't even think they call themselves a microbrew anymore. So that's not really a fair assessment or a fair claim. But it did start out as something like you were saying. You could only get certain beers in certain places.
Sure.
That was one of them. You could get it in St. Louis, but if you crossed the river into Illinois, you couldn't get it there. You couldn't get it in Minnesota. Couldn't get it in Iowa, Illinois. Couldn't get it. And so they actually, part of their marketing scheme, they actually had what are those drink where you put the glass on something on a bar? So coaster. Thank you. Yeah. I can remember weird movie things, but I can't remember what a coaster is.
Yeah, I can answer any bar question. You know that.
So anyway, they built coasters, or they made coasters that had a design on them that was someone loading. It was a station wagon with the door open, and it was full of Fat Tire beer, and it had a Minnesota plate on it. And it was taking a road trip to Colorado anytime soon.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
because that's how it was. Anytime
Sure.
someone from I would go up to visit people in Minnesota, I would have to take several cases of Fat Tire with me from St. Louis.
Yep.
Because that's what everyone wanted.
Or you wouldn't be welcome.
Because you wouldn't be welcome. But now it's finally reversed.
Yeah.
Because now everyone that comes down has to bring me premium.
They want the grain belt.
I want the primo. And the same thing goes, and I don't know if it's that anymore because I haven't been in a while, but getting it's not lining kugels. It's shit. Starts with an L. There's another beer that no. It's a beer from the East Coast that doesn't go over the Mississippi. Ling Ling, yeah.
Yeah.
Yin Yang, Ling Ling, whatever it is. Ying-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. That's what I used to call it. Ying-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
Yeah, it's Yingling.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of friends. Yingling. Yeah, I used to have to bring friends that lived in St. Louis from here in Nashville, Yingling.
Let's see what back to the Yingling. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
And as we're talking about that, one of my favorites, just for a nice, clean, safe to get anywhere, is Stella Artois. Like Stella.
Okay. I like Stella.
Very nice.
Mine is a safe one, and it's safe because very few people will actually drink it. Heineken.
Yeah, I used to have more Heineken than I do these days. If we looked in my fridge in the garage, which is, oh my gosh, another story. We weren't sure if we were going to keep the old fridge when we replaced the appliances in the kitchen. We decided to because we have this 2-car garage that's truly just a 2-car garage. And what gets in the way, I mean, there are steps that are in there that, step up from the garage into the house. And that takes up room in the garage. And then I have this 1,000-pound Harley-Davidson that takes up room in the garage. It's like packed in there with everything. And now the refrigerator, of course, is in there and takes up room. And the other concern was we have to position it just right so we can actually open the side-by-side door when we have the cars parked in there. Anyway, but I have Guinness in there. I have what is the Modelo?
Oh, good choice. Yeah.
I have Modelo in there, which I really like. And I have a whole bunch of Miller High Life.
Miller Low Life is good. Yeah.
And they're just safe. And that's really all I have in there for beer. I mean, we have some more sparkling wine than we've had in a long time, but sometimes there's a special or something, whatever. But
we can't keep that stuff in our house.
Why?
Because we have a lot of special occasions.
Oh, well, but it's good to
we woke up this morning. Let's have some champagne.
But that's good. And it's nice, even, for those mornings. And Lisa is famous for her eggs Benedict. And she does.
I'm coming over right now.
She does an awesome job with the eggs Benedict. Easby, as we call it.
Every time I go on vacation, that is my first meal.
It's got to be done well.
Yes.
Some restaurants don't. And
no, they do not.
No offense. Some of them don't. And I've never had, I shouldn't say never. I've seldom had a good Easby on a buffet, for example. We go to some nice brunches, but usually the eggs are toast.
Well, so here's the thing, taking it a different direction completely.
Yeah.
The crux to your statement there was buffet.
Which
I refuse to do buffets.
I know. But if you do a brunch and in Wisconsin, a Sunday brunch, there are some very high quality ones.
Yeah.
But you have to find
brunch and buffet just don't. The only thing that I will do in a buffet is a Bloody Mary.
I'll do that. Have you never been to a buffet in Vegas?
Yeah. I hated it.
Really?
You know what? This is something that we may not have mentioned at all ever on this podcast.
This is weird.
But COVID has been wonderful for me because I am a germaphobe anyways. Introverts unite.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They don't unite because nobody shows up.
Exactly.
at the meetings. They
The
might as well have
idea of introversion unites.
You should have introverts and procrastinators together.
That's me right there. That's the next sweatshirt. What do we call it? Introcrastinators. Introcrastinators.
That could also be the name of our. You're writing things down. I like that. That could be the name of our microbrew.
Oh.
And we will get around to naming that at some point. But
and maybe not the microbrew for alcohol, but you can now get white label coffee.
Oh,
and brand it for your business. That's going to be the PoddiMouths coffee introcrastinators.
You need to put some of that coffee in your potty mouth.
That's right. Ooh, listen to that marketing.
Hey, I'm not new at this.
No, you're good. You are good. Someone should pay you to do that.
No one does. It's amazing.
I know. It's incredible.
Yes, it's a happy thing. Yeah, anybody who is out there and you're saying, I am not doing what I want to do now, happily, as you get older, you make choices that generally, at least hopefully, will lead you to something you want to do rather than have to do. And
yes,
in the last couple of years, I've had both, and not the last few years, let's say. And so I'm delighted to be in more of a want to do now than.
Yeah, me too. I love doing this podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant is the podcast. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, right. I knew it. No, I mean, in all seriousness, that's one thing that's been fabulous about my wife being able to take over the dance studio. Mm-hmm. This is something that it's not a job for her.
Yeah.
She enjoys it. And even though one thing we've always talked about in our relationship is the fact that we like to have very similar schedules so we can enjoy our time off together.
Yep. Because
this is not necessarily a job for her. The fact that our schedules don't match up is not an issue. And it's lovely. It's lovely.
That's actually really awesome. You're right. But it's also, you guys have also double teamed the studio too. It's not like it's, really, you both
made it our bitch.
Been very, or you. I'm not sure which.
Either way, yeah.
But it has been cool. It's great to, it's very rewarding when something like that works.
Yes.
So,
and I have to go there tomorrow to light a pilot light on one of the heaters in one of the studios.
You get to go tomorrow and light.
Now
we're talking.
Yes. I've been told not to light the pilot light when there's students in there. I don't know why. It's not like it's going to explode or anything.
I would think. Well, and listeners, if you don't know this, the reason people have told him that is because Nick only lights anything with a flamethrower. And so you need to back away.
I'm taking.
Anybody want a cigarette? No.
Mr. Smollett gave me some cigars. I'm going to take one of those. That's how I'm lighting the pilot light right there.
I just tell you this right now. Hold on. I got to show you something.
Sean, pull up your pants.
I am standing. Yes. No, I'm not. This
is a cigar.
Could be. Inside
it looks like a bowl of grapes.
Inside it is this.
Ooh.
And these.
Nice. Those are Churchills, right? No, Churchills are
they're the much longer ones. These are like very short. I'll show you the.
So how long do they have to sit in there?
They've said a couple of months, and they're probably at least a month so far.
Okay.
So what I have. So yeah, we have cigars that I am infusing with alcohol.
Which alcohol have you chosen?
Well, I started with a really nice, an actual, like a sweet bourbon, quite expensive from Flaviar that you forced me to join.
Yeah, I need to join it. I still, every time I see it.
Without telling me, I'll send you an invite and I get $50.
Okay.
Or
$50 send me an invite.
Beer, probably. Okay, I will. Remind me of that.
I just did.
And I think now I just needed a brown liquor that I had, and Matt Pitzner brought over some Captain Morgan.
Nice.
I thought, well, that's nice and sweet, and that should be a good. And gosh, the cigars smell amazing.
Speaking of, so have I shared this one with you? I think I did send you a picture, but I'm not drinking this one. But this is a really. I'm not a big rum fan, but this is a really good rum.
Is it Pilar? It's Ernest Hemingway. Yeah.
It's very, very good. It's a sipping rum, so I don't add anything to it. I don't mix it with anything. The only thing I've ever mixed it with, which was also phenomenal, was what's the name of it? Eggnog. What's that?
That sounds really good. This is the thing the cigars came in.
Nice.
So
Very nice. Is that one of your
Nub cigar? Nub cigar. That's because they're all small.
That's about the size I would want to smoke.
Me too. I'm
fantastic, and I think it's still there. I looked it up. I don't think it's operating the same way it used to, but the same business owners. There's a great cigar bar in the Central West End of St. Louis. Really? Our office, when I worked for Small Business Television, our first office was in the West End. Okay. And the West End is another older part of town. It's not the oldest. It's very close to. So I mentioned University City, where that bar we were talking about is on what they call the Loop.
Blueberry Hill,
which is kind of on the western end of the park, or what is the name of the park? I can't remember the name of the park. Poof, gone. It's actually bigger than
Central Park.
Poof, gone Park. It's actually bigger than Central Park in New York, but it's very similar in the structure. It's square. It's where they had the 1904 World's Fair.
Okay.
Anyway, on the other end of the park, on the east end, is West End.
Okay.
Which is a little confusing because it's on the east end of the park, but it's the Central West End. Anyway, because it's the West End of St. Louis. The Central West End it's got a lot of really high end restaurants and things like that. And there was this cigar bar that went in, and we would walk, because every Thursday they would do, you buy a cigar and you get you buy a drink and you get a free cigar. So you go, and they didn't have very much to choose from drink wise. So you would get either a brandy or a whiskey, and then you'd get a free cigar, and you'd go out and sit out on the front, which is the sidewalk, but it's like the front patio. You sit there and you smoke your cigar and you drink your scotch or your bourbon,
your whiskey or bourbon.
Yeah. And it was phenomenal. It was so much fun.
Forest Park.
Forest Park. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Yeah. So
thank Google.
Yeah. Thank you, Google. I don't want to thank Google. I thank Google way too much.
I do too. And as soon as I do that, she opens up on my phone.
Nice. Yeah, yes. We try to come up with different things to get our Google devices to answer to us that have nothing to do with Hey Google or anything like that. It's like, one that I did the other day. Yo Poodle. I said, Yo Poodle. And it came up.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, I try to avoid that because we have the whole house
Google-fied.
Pretty much, yes, fied. And she will start talking sometimes unprompted.
Yeah.
It's so freaky. Alexa did that when we had her at the house a few years ago. And Lisa will remember exactly what she said, but it was something like, "Pa, go get the rifles because they're coming from," just out of the blue. What the heck was that?
That's hilarious.
And we just laughed our butts off.
We also have as extensions in the studio, the Wi-Fi extensions. I also have Google Pods.
Yeah.
I have all of the voice activation shut off on them, so they'll never activate if someone says anything like that. Not that kind of pod. It's their Wi-Fi pods.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, the Wi-Fi pods. Yep.
Yeah. But they also have the Google Assistant tied into them. Mm-hmm. And again, I have those shut off. But one thing I didn't know, because I have two separate accounts on my phone for Google Home. Mm-hmm. If I do, so you can make an announcement on the Google Pods here in the house, and they'll announce only in the house.
Oh, right.
And you could definitely do that in the studio if I had the assistants turned on. Mm-hmm. What I didn't know, and luckily it was only my wife sitting at the studio, none of the students had shown yet. If I use my phone, the Google Home Assistant on my phone, and make an announcement, it makes the announcement on all of the Google Assistants, both in the house and at the studio. So I was making an announcement one night for Peyton to get, and I think I literally said something like, "Get your ass out of the tub." I don't think I use ass. I don't usually use those words in front of, but it was something like that. Get your ass out of the tub and get downstairs now. And it sent it all the way over the house and all the way over the studio. And
no way.
Yeah.
How far away is the studio?
It's about 2 miles, 3 miles. But no matter what, it's a separate building.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a separate account.
So was Jen over there when it did
she was in the studio.
Oh,
she was getting ready for classes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
So mental note, I cannot use the assistant on my phone when I'm making an announcement unless I want people at the studio. Makes me wonder how many times people at the studio have actually heard me make an announcement.
Yes, right.
On the phone. I keep it pretty clean there, so it's hopefully nothing bad, but still.
It's not like a PoddiMouths podcast.
Not like a PoddiMouths podcast at all. Yeah.
Filthy.
Yeah. But terrible. Anyway, that's what I was going to go somewhere with some of that, and I don't remember where it was. We were talking about Central West End. We were talking about cigars.
Forest Park,
St. Louis. Really fun. You should go there. I wish I remembered the name of the place, but it's changed its name a few times.
Doesn't matter. So cigars.
Yeah. Okay. This is where I was going, and that's the last thing because we do have to wrap it up here. Yeah, but we were talking earlier this afternoon on one of our calls. It's the year-end call, which, by the way, everyone, this might likely will be the last PoddiMouths podcast, live PoddiMouths podcast of the year of 2020. So. We'll talk about that in just a second, but. We had kind of a year-end team little get-together, and also my boss is moving on, which is good for him. He's an incredible person, and I wish him all the best luck. He's staying within the company. He's just moving on to a different role, which again,
we work more closely with me. So
he is. Yeah.
How about that?
Luckily, you'll get to put up with him more than you have to put up with me. Anyway, yeah. Where was I going with all of that? Oh, anyway, so we were on the call and we were talking about,
ladies and gentlemen, it's difficult to believe he's the young one.
Right. I have had a cocktail. Anyway, we were talking about liquor, and because I have the Screwball, which I showed John earlier, which is a peanut butter whiskey, which is awesome. It's the sweetest thing I can actually handle, but it's kind of sweet.
And you said that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead. Love you, honey. Anyway, and we were talking about I have a bottle of rum here that we were looking at and stuff like that. But someone brought up on the call, I think it was Patrick, brought up on the call, and I know he's listening, that they have come out with a new Game of Thrones bourbon, or it's either bourbon or Scotch, and it's different types for different houses.
Okay.
And like they have the House of Lannister bourbon, which I guess is his favorites, is really, really good. And so he was talking about that. And then he was saying, there's a company that makes it, and I don't remember. And then one of our other guys spoke up and he said, Lagavulin. How do you say it? I can't say the word.
Lagavulin. Yeah, way to say it with an accent.
And of course, really I know it really does. I instantly, of course, thought of you and mentioned, oh, that's John's favorite.
It's an incredible. Is it an Islay? I don't think it's an Islay Scotch, but it's.
No, I think it is
because my favorites. It's very peaty.
It is very peaty, and that's why, because I think we got on that subject because someone had brought up Laphroaig, which everyone but one person on the call went, ooh.
Oh, I can absolutely do Laphroaig, but Lagavulin is peaty until you have Laphroaig.
Yeah.
Laphroaig is like drinking peaty at all.
Yeah, Laphroaig is like drinking smoke.
Oh my gosh, it's really strong and powerful, but either you like it or you don't.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I said. And Rick, so you'll have to talk to Rick about it.
Oh, for sure.
Rick is the fan of Laphroaig.
Oh, awesome. Well, Rick and I are gonna make sure we
should start a podcast.
We could start a podcast, but I don't have any spare time.
I capitalize all of your time.
You do indeed.
Yeah. On that note,
it has been a good note. I like how you always say on that note, whatever the note
Maybe
is.
that's my thing,
Sour
because
note.
you obviously don't like my "it's been real, it's been fun," but it hasn't been real fun.
But you do that every time. It's like,
Well, yeah, that's the whole
stupid
point of
see
having
ya.
a shtick.
Why do I do see ya? Because I can't think of anything else. I'm going to try something else today. It's not going
Are
to be
you?
a see ya.
Well, no, do see ya, because it's the end of 2020. You'll begin 2021 with a new
That's
catchphrase.
fair. So actually, we're saying see ya to 2020.
Exactly.
So this is actually going to go up on my birthday.
It is.
Yes. So
everyone wish John a happy birthday. It's not his birthday today, but it will be very soon.
will be as soon as this one hits. And
Yeah.
so when you're listening to this, it's possible that I'll be another year older. And this is a
John, with that, you'll be another year wiser.
I don't think I will. My wiseness seems to be diminishing while my oldness seems to be increasing.
But the wise assery is still there.
Well, that's because I have to do that to keep up with you. I don't.
That's true.
It.
That is so. You do enjoy it. You enjoy it so much.
When I say I don't, I really mean I do.
Yeah. I mean, no means yes, right?
It does not.
Not at all. If we can leave you with one thought and one thought only, is no means no, folks. No means no. Anyway, I don't know.
I tried to keep it in.
You did a good job until you didn't. Folks, if you really enjoyed our 2020 episodes in general, or if you enjoy our podcast
in general. I mean, I'm sure you had moments where you thought we sucked, but
today is probably that day. But you know what? Our New Year's resolution is to make PoddiMouths that much better. Ooh. Season 3 is going to be awesome.
Gosh, I hope so.
So let's conclude season.
We're having a
season 2 with a seizure.
A season-ending seizure.
Seizure.
Ooh, and we're going to go have a Caesar salad.
Caesar me. Oh, you see, you went the salad route. I went beer with clamato juice.
I know, which is very good.
Oh, it's very good. I love that. People think I'm weird, but try it.
You are.
When you throw a couple, so you get that, and you throw a couple of pickled quail eggs in there. Oh, dude.
How bad could that be? You know what I'd like to add to that? Pork belly.
Ooh.
Done.
Yeah, done. Yeah. Well, you know, and have we talked about this before? That when I grew up with Bloody Marys in Minnesota, they always came with a small light beer chaser.
Yes,
they don't do that here in the South. They don't do that here in the South.
Yeah, they do it in the Midwest. It's a Midwest.
I love it. I miss it. My wife thinks I'm so weird because I'll always pour a little rocks glass full of beer.
She's right. You are weird.
Well, yeah, I'm just talking about that particular thing.
Oh, that. I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So now we're back on Bloody Marys. Really good Bloody Mary. If I ever get you back in Nashville, there's a restaurant in East St. Louis called Marché, and it's obviously a French bistro. Great eggs Benedict, but they also have a sake Bloody Mary.
Oh, good gosh.
It's so good.
It'd have to be, because sake has been naughty to me.
Oh, that's our next episode right there.
Okay.
That's our 2021 episode. Sake has been naughty to me.
Maybe another t-shirt. Yes.
Hold on, getting the pen out. Yes, while I'm writing this, everybody.
This is what happens when Nick drinks during our.
I haven't had a drink since we started.
You're talking like you've had a drink. You're normally when you go, well, it's time for us to wrap up. We're still 10 minutes longer, and you're still writing. And
well, it's because I don't want this year to end.
Well, it doesn't. Oh, yes, you do.
Oh, I so very do. So let's end it on that. You know what? Nobody head up to the PoddiMouths.com website. Nobody look at our merch store. Don't you dare go look at Bill's merch store or head over to Patched Overalls. Don't do any of that. Don't go to our social media. Please do not leave any comments. We don't want to hear from you at all this year.
And it's the reverse Nick.
Verse psychology, not reverse, verse. I'm going to pick up this book right here, and I'm going to read you a verse, and it's going to be verse psychology.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I even did it with a little bit of another
shirt, apparently.
Like that. Yeah, it's going to be
I will say, even
procrastinators.
Go to PoddiMouths.com. Check out all the stuff. Merch store. Go to Vehicle Nanny. Enjoy yourself. And please, please, please have an awesome Christmas and New Year's, or whatever it is you celebrate,
or Hanukkah and Kwanzaa.
Fabulous.
Yep, exactly. You know what? One thing everybody does celebrate is New Year's. So have a very Merry New Year.
See ya.